Namaskar, hello, welcome everyone to this new episode of Bachpan Ke Pitare Se, where we are again joined with Ramendra sir, and today in today's episode he's going to share his author's journey with all of us. So thank you, sir, joining again today.
My pleasure.
So this episode we are going to talk about your journey as an author. So I would like to ask you about what inspired you to writing? Like, how and when did you start your writing journey?
So I was around 8 or 7 when I wrote my first poem. It was one of the most pathetic pieces of verse ever written. It went like this: Topsy and Tim went for a swim. Topsy swam well and broke the spell. Tim swam badly and went home sadly. Such a pathetic piece of writing. But the proud poet in me scribbled it on a piece of paper and took it to my father. I thought my father would say that, "What is this? You're writing silly poetry. You should be studying like Putul Auntie's daughter or studying maths like Chadda Uncle's son, Happy Singh." But instead of that, you're writing this gibberish. He didn't say any of these things. He just picked me up, gave me a tight hug, and said one word: wonderful. So today, if I'm a writer with 52 books, 33 languages, whatever, it's all because of that one beautiful gesture and that one word of encouragement. So that's how my writing journey started, and I uh, did indulge in a few poems. Then, when I was in college, I wrote satire, a little bit of fiction, and then moved on to children's writing.
Yes. And I still remember the first story that I had read. Like, how I came to know that there is an Indian author named Ramendra Kumar. It was like I had ordered a couple of books. I'd asked my friend to bring a couple of books from NBT from Delhi. She was visiting Delhi then. And my daughter was, I still remember, she was in grade 4. And she had bought a book called No Mountain is Difficult to Climb.
No
In
mountain
that,
is
you
high
had written
enough.
a story.
No mountain is high enough. It was by children's book trust, CBT.
Yes,
It's
CBT.
a prize-winning story.
Yes. And that was the first time, and I was like, this is an unusual name. I have never heard the name of this author. And that was my first
Hmm.
story that I had read. So, yes, the CBT, correct. And then after that, cut to so many years, like 2 years back when I joined Kathashtkam, and then I met you there. I heard about you there, and it was like the We Are Different, the book, and you were celebrating us the sale of millions of copies of that book, and along with Boond, and one more book was there.
A
So
tale of
I,
tales.
yes, A Tale of Tales, yes. And then I had took my phone, and for the first time I called you. I gathered the courage to call you. Sir, can I get your author signed copies? And that was the first time you had responded promptly, and I got my copies. And since then, whenever I have narrated your stories, they have been loved. And I've also narrated your stories in two languages. Third, I'm going to narrate in this season of my Bachpan Ke Pitare Se. So, sir, like you are an engineer, you did an MBA, you were in corporate job. So, how did you balance your passion with your job, corporate job? How did you balance that?
Great question. I had a really tough job because I was in corporate communications. And in corporate communications, it's 24/7. Like I would be busy typing out a story on my laptop. Suddenly, I would get a call from a media guy saying that, "Do you know, sir, there's an accident in blast furnace and 3 people are dead and 7 seriously injured. What do you have to tell about that?" I had to shelve everything and get into that mood. Then, like I said, I had responsibility of bringing up the children, sharing that responsibility with Madhvi. So I had to take care of their demands. But in all this, there was one thing which kept me going, and that was my passion. I was passionate about writing. Writing has been my ikigai ever since I was a child. So what happens is that when you have the passion, you'll make the time for it. Then,
True.
secondly, I have been blessed by my father with two qualities. One quality is I can just switch off. Like I would be in meetings sitting right in front of the managing director with my diary, and he would keep, and in a meeting in a public sector, out of 60 minutes, 55 minutes is horse manure or bull dung. Only 5 minutes they talk sense. So what I would do is I would just open the diary and keep nodding, looking at him, smiling, and just, you know, and he would think Ramendra Kumar is such an attentive junior. He's listening to whatever I'm saying and noting down. And I would be writing a story once upon a time, long, long ago, in a land far, far away. So I could just switch off. I have written in on railway platforms, in airports, in flights, in trains, wherever and whenever, right? And the second thing is, my father's blessing has given me the ability to store an idea in my head for hours, days, months, weeks, even years. In 1986, I thought of an idea and I wrote that story in 1998 with the same characters, with the same plot, with the same milieu. So these two things help me become prolific and manage my passion with my profession.
Wow. I think, like what you did, you were, by the time you were writing or whenever you were writing, you were developing that writing muscle, as they say. We have to develop a writing muscle. So this happens only by continuous writing, or
See, uh, it definitely you need to have practice, but you need to be blessed with that trait. Everybody cannot do it.
true.
Like my mother was a writer also, but she needed a proper atmosphere.
Okay.
Quiet, right time she should have her tea, her juice, her lunch, her evening tiffin, her dinner. In the evening she would go for walks, nurture and nourish those ideas. I didn't have any luxuries, so I became adept at writing in chaos. That it helped me.
Yes, this is a very important thing that you highlighted, that different people need different atmosphere to write, right? So
But when
no
I
two,
didn't have a choice. See, I think
yes,
sometimes what happens is you tend to adapt. And because I didn't have a choice, I could adapt. And my father's blessing was there, that helped me adapt. Yeah.
true. So, and one more thing I have noticed, since, like, though I have not read all the stories that you have written, but all the stories, there's one common thread in all of them. The language is simple, and mostly you write in English. So, even a
I write
person,
only in English.
okay, you write only in English. So, what I found was in all the books, even the spooky stories, that novella that you had written, the short novel, uh, the people who can just read and understand basic English can also read and understand, comprehend. So the language is basically very simple. And then on the superficial level, the characters are very simple. The plot is simple, right? It's fun and simple to read. But by the time I reach the end of the story, be it a picture book or a short story or anything, by the time I reach the end of the story, it's like I get some food for thought. So there are so many things that accumulate. There are so many different perspectives that come to my mind, and especially like they have all lingered for a long time in my mind. So how do you make these stories or characters look so simple and effortless while they are connecting so much? So like I tell you, I can take an example, like a tale of tales. It is like a snake and a mongoose who are joining their tails, right? और फिर वो बाद में आते हैं, तो it's a fun story for children. There can be so many repetitions. Being a storyteller, I can do that. We are different में एक जिराफ और एक स्क्विरल की कहानी है, बट वो कितना गहरा है. So there are two different people, two different species altogether who are good friends. And in present times, when we are talking about diversity and inclusion, and this is the hot topic these days, So, how do you manage to make it look so simple and effortless? And it's like you just read it and you're not talking, you're not preaching about anything. But still, there is so much to learn. It's like not a simple story at all. None of them.
So, my father always would say, that as a writer, you have a certain kind of responsibility. And your responsibility is not only entertainment, it is entertainment with a value. So, like you so beautifully analyzed, all my stories are entertaining. They have a plot, they have a beginning, the middle, and an end, and they move in at quite a pace. But
Hmm.
at the end, there is a value. And this value is not thrust. It is not, I'm not moralizing. I'm not, being didactic. The
Yes.
reader uh, absorbs and internalizes the value without even realizing it. And I think that is my strength. Though some of the top of the line, a couple of top of the line publishers have told me that no, your writing is preachy, and but I don't agree with that. And I believe that writing without purpose is just useless. Is absolutely a waste of time and energy because I'm not doing it for money. Thankfully, I can make enough money with my profession or whatever. I I have a social responsibility as a writer. If I don't impart values subtly, if I don't give some kind of direction to children, especially to children, when their minds are like sponges, they'll absorb everything. What am I doing? I'm not in the business of entertainment. I'm in the business of recreation and value addition. And that has been my philosophy. And again, thanks to my father.
Wow. So, and I'm sure, like, when you say that you adapt to, you can switch off easily and you can write anywhere and everywhere. So, do all these inspirations of these characters or plots come from around you?
See, for any writer, it's like a pie chart. You have imagination, you have observation, you have experience. As a child, your observation is very, very sharp. Your experience might not be that good. But as you grow, you add layers to your experience. So for me, it's a combination of all three. There are many stories which I've written based on my experience. This is one of my most popular books. It's called
Oh,
Against All Odds. It's
please.
by Penguin. So there I've written about a child with one arm shot who is crazy about football. So he's bullied a lot. So as a child, I was bullied. I was an extremely odd looking guy, very, very skinny, and they would call me Skinner and Monkey Brand and whatnot and all. So I understand what bullying is, how deeply crushing it can be. So my experience of being bullied and fighting it, I have included in this book,
Against all
right?
odds.
And there are also other layers in this book. How in a society, we look down upon, I mean, that gap between the rich and the poor, between the haves and the have nots. That is again leads to bullying, leads to disparaging remarks. I've discussed that also. Through the medium of football, I've brought in resilience, the fighting spirit, and the camaraderie, all of which are part of any sport.
And the same topic you have covered so beautifully in this We Are Different also, no? There's
Yeah,
this one other, and
inclusivity.
those are animal characters. Here,
Yeah.
Against All Odds is all about human nature, human behavior. And the same concept is so beautifully expressed by you in animal characters, which is apt for a preschooler or nursery going child. So the
Yeah.
same concept you have written so brilliantly with two different sets in two different settings. So any suggestion that you would or advice you would like to give to budding authors?
So I have quite a few pointers which I can share. One is that never write for money. you know, because personally, the amount of money which I earn from my writing, I cannot feed my pet Labrador Aryan for more than a week. So I
Okay.
don't write for money. I write because I can't help writing. Writing to me is almost like an OCD. I have to write. Then be open to ideas. Ideas are like sparks flying all around you. Everything can spark an idea. A conversation in a train, your a parent, cuddling her child, a little girl playing with her puppy, a scene in a movie, a dialogue in a web series, a status on Insta, a WhatsApp message, a Facebook post, anything can. So be open to these ideas and grab them. And one very practical example is if you get an idea, you don't have a notebook and a pen, but you have your cell phone. Just record your idea on your cell phone. And when you have the time, we didn't have that luxury, but now the children have. Now all of us have. So you record that idea on your cell phone, and whenever you have the time, elaborate on it. Then don't wait for an ideal scenario. Like there was this friend of my father, a Sahitya Academy Award winner. He would go to Kashmir, Srinagar, sit opposite the Dal Lake, and write poetry. Now, if I ask my wife, my beautiful wife Madhavi, that I want to go to Dal Lake, she'll dump me in the washing machine. That's how close I can get to water. I don't have that luxury. So I write, like I mentioned, in chaos. And never ever fear rejection. Rejection is part and parcel of a writer's life. And and always write keeping your audience in mind. The age, their sensitivity, and their sensibility. Most important, when you're writing for children, don't look down upon them. Don't patronize them. There was this librarian I'd gone to Delhi to attend a conference, and there was this librarian of an American library or something, very impressive personality, and she was giving a talk and telling children's writers how to write for kids. And she said, when you write for children, go down to the level of children. So during the question answer hour, I raised my hand and I said, ma'am, your session was very engaging, very insightful. But there was one small problem. You got your direction wrong. We don't have to go down to the level of children. You have to rise high to the level of children because children are closest to God and God lives there. So don't patronize. Children are far smarter than what you think they are. Don't look down upon them.
True.
I think, and as far as characterization is concerned, the character uh, should resonate with the reader. If they don't resonate, they will not strike a chord, and they should be believable. Now, I have written this book from the point of view of my Labrador.
Okay, that's
It's in first person from the point of view of my uh, pet lab. So it is based in the time of Corona and all that. And there are very funny incidents, all real life incidents. But somebody asked me, how can you write from the point of view of a doggy? So I said, his soulful brown eyes inspire me. His tail creates a stream of consciousness narrative. And sometimes I feel that he understands me more than my beautiful wife. So I and he connect. And that's how I've written a full book on his behalf, from his point of view.
yes. I think I have done this exercise in one of my classes. Like I've been teaching language in schools. So long back when I was teaching in one of the schools, I remember this creative exercise that we always give to kids. Imagine you are an eraser.
Yeah.
How would you write? How would you describe yourself, or what would you like to do? And those extempore competitions for which we prepare kids. So if I was a prime minister for one day, but entirely have
Correct.
written the entire book in the canine
Correct.
language, thinking of this. So, oh wow,
There's one
these
more
are.
thing I would like to add that people talk about writer's block. I
Hmm.
have never experienced writer's block, though Madhvi thinks I'm a blockhead. I don't suffer from a writer's block. The only reason is that I switch genres. Whenever I'm getting stuck in a particular category, I simply move to some other writing, and that refreshes me. Like I've written, like you mentioned, I've written picture books.
Yes,
This is
Pappu
the
the
books we're
Giant.
talking about. We are different.
Yes, this is
I've
I've done.
written chapter books
Yes.
for teens. I've written a biography, a couple of biographies. This
Okay.
is APJ Abdul Kalam.
APJ Abdul
I've
Kalam.
written a book for grown-ups. This is the story of a film star, the struggle and the tough, situations she before she actually becomes a top-notch heroine. Now, I've got no experience of films, but I've read quite a bit about it, and the rest I imagine. And this was an Amazon bestseller. It's
Oh,
called Mohini.
now I want to have my copy.
Yeah.
I want to have my copy of
So,
this book. I have not read it.
yeah, yeah. And then this is a book on parenting.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then this is a book on the POXO Act. Now, can you
Okay.
imagine? And this is for 12 to 15-year-olds.
That's interesting.
So I was given this book. I was commissioned to write this book by an organization called Butterflies based in Delhi. I had to read up the POXO Act uh, and simplify it so that children in the age group of say 10 to 14 can understand. I had to even create a case study. Now, this is such a taboo topic. We're talking about physical touch. So
Yes.
it was a huge, huge challenge. And this is now available uh, in its online format in Hindi and English.
Wow.
Then I wrote a book on my experiences in working in a public sector, which is,
Okay.
the same holds true for a private sector also. The nepotism, the favoritism, the corruption, everything in a satirical way. Then I have written a book on cancer.
I was about to ask you about this book.
Yeah, this again is a bestseller. It's got 11 coping mechanisms, very practical insights which you and I or anybody can adapt and adopt, not only for cancer, but for any crisis like the death of a partner, loss of a job, a broken relationship, a failure in an examination. Simple strategies
Wow.
based on secondary research as well as my experience. Then this is a book which has come out. It's on domestic violence. Here
Okay.
again was a huge challenge because the Domestic Violence Act is very, very complicated. I had to read up, give case studies, illustrate it in a way that anybody can understand it. And this is, I think, one of the most important contributions of mine to society because you see violence happening everywhere, both,
Everywhere.
and this act is exploited by both women and men.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
So, and at least in this, people are now becoming equal. The women are also exploiting the men in this, using this act.
I wanted to bring up this topic because it's not only women who are facing the inequality. These days, I have
Men
come
also are
across.
facing. I have discussed
Yes.
that in this.
So
Yeah, they're
that's
also
great
facing.
that you have talked about the domestic violence faced by men because it was one of the um, research topics for my daughter in her 12th
Yeah,
grade. So she took a topic and it was domestic violence against men. So when she was researching for it, we could hardly get any information on internet.
yeah,
And then we had to dig deep and then she had to consult her teacher and she did a lot of research. And then we could find and then we had to see those red flags, those silent red flags that even men go through. And we could find so many incidents around us. And thankfully, thanks, we have written about men also. That's what I wanted to talk about, like mental illness, mental health about men. This
yeah,
is a
yeah, yeah. It
taboo
is there.
topic, and मर्द को दर्द नहीं होता सब ठीक है.
Hmm.
That's not the
Hmm.
case. Thank you. So, out of all these assignments, has there any assignment been or anything that has been the most difficult to write?
There was one book uh, which I had written for an organization called Protsahan, which takes care of children, uh, the girl child who live in the streets,
Okay.
and it was called Stories of Resilience. Now, here what happened, the director of the institute, a young lady called Sonal Kapoor, she told me that she will give me certain strands. She can't reveal the entire story because it's about a personal life of a child, a personal lives of children, young girls.
Mhm.
So she wanted me to use those strands and write or create stories which would talk about how these children were, uh, Protsahan went forward, picked up these children, and made them economically, financially uh, capable, and rescued them from situations which at times were worse than death. So there was this, she would say that there was this girl who was to be married at the age of 9, and how Prasan rescued her. Then there was this girl who was forced into begging, and another child who was witness to domestic violence at home, and she had become completely, what should I say, depressed and frustrated. So I started delving into each of these stories. I started imagining what she would have gone, what is the setting, what is the way the story flows. And believe me, Deepa, this was one of the most uh, difficult assignments, in the sense that usually you feel that these kind of things, physical exploitation, emotional exploitation, being pushed into drug addiction, these things happens elsewhere. Some other city, some other country, some other continent. But then you realize they can be happening in your neighborhood, in your outhouse, in the slum right in front of yours, in the market somewhere. And that's when it hits you in what kind of a society you're living. Believe me, it took me around 3 months to write this, and after that I went into a warp. For a couple of weeks, I couldn't write anything. I had to struggle with all those emotions because I had brought out everything from within and painted such a realistic picture. And when Sonal Kapoor, the director of this institute, when she read those stories, she broke down a number of times, and she found them so realistic and so heart moving, heart rending. So this was one of the most difficult assignments.
I can just imagine. I find myself dumbfounded right now. And you have done this. And you have done such an elaborate work,
And
sir.
one particular incident I want to just record. So there was this particular incident which Sonal Kapoor narrated to me, that there was a child, 7-year-old girl, who was being raped by her father every day, and she had no idea. So how was I to convey this in a book for youngsters? That how would she explain? Because she has no idea, that young child. So what I did was I imagined that one of the volunteers of the organization, they are passing by her hut or small house, and she's drawing with a piece of charcoal, and she's drawing a young girl, and on top of that a man. So this volunteer asks her, "What is this? What is this you're doing?" Saying, "No, this my father is taking care of me, and he told me that all fathers love their daughters like this." Right? So the volunteer tells the director, and they swing into action. And under POXO Act, that fellow is arrested, and the child is rescued. So imagine these kind of incidents are happening in our society. That's what broke me, and definitely this kind of thing has to come out. The kind of work some NGOs are doing, the kind of society we are living in, and it was for me the most difficult assignment.
I can understand, sir. Because a similar incident I had heard on TV in KBC. This Nobel Prize winner from India, Mr.
Satyarthi. Satyarthi.
Mr. Kedar Satyarthi had come. And he had narrated a similar incident how his organization rescued that child. It was like this child is begging her father, don't do it today. And is being done in her mother's presence.
My God.
That was the day. Until today, we just remember that conversation sometimes. It was like we had many sleepless nights. It was just something that we heard on TV. Today, you narrate it and you have written on it. I'm sure it must have, like, it is heartbreaking. Like, even now, I have goosebumps. I don't know what to say, but this is where we are living and it needs to change. So let's change the topic. It's been too serious for me. I don't know how to. It's not a good thing for me to do it. Change the mood right now, but it has to be lighter. So any incident or any any character that you developed was like most interesting character that you have developed till date. A
There
fun
are
loving.
quite a few characters, and one of which is actually a story which reflects the bonding between me and my father. It's a novella called Now or Never, in which the father, he's a boxer. His name is Shiva. He's a big time boxer. So he's a single parent. His son suffers from a tumor, and he needs a lot of money to perform that surgery, to get that surgery performed. At that point, he's ready for a fight with a challenger. He doesn't have the money. So he's approached by a bookie who says that I'll give you X amount of money, you lose the match. Now, on one side is that he has to win that match, on the other side is his son's life. So he actually accepts the bookie's offer and loses that match. In that process, his betrayal of his fans is known to everybody. It comes out in the papers. His career is destroyed. He becomes an alcoholic. Now, his son, when he grows up, he starts hating his father. His son's name is Rajat. That what is my father? He's such a useless guy. He works in a bar. He's an alcoholic. His father's friend then tells him about his sacrifice. The son and his friends then decide to bring back Shiva to his original career.
Okay.
And they encourage him, they support him, they get sponsors for a bout. And Shiva fights the same guy and he beats him. So this son and father connect. Like my father rescued me, and when my mother left us, my father was completely in shambles. Then I resurrected his life and career, even though I was only 15 years old. So that is the connect which is very close to my heart.
Wow. Yeah. So there's so many genres you have written, such funny things, such serious things, and things that need to change. And we have seen you like in your different avatars. You dance, you write, you give inspirational talks, and you are a storyteller. Now, recently, you are like Mr. India Cancer Warrior too, and if wishes come true, then soon we would like to see you in Bollywood, as was there in the Facebook post that we mentioned. I loved it, and you recently we saw you singing also. So many feathers in your cap, and is there a surprise coming for us soon, or in near future, or something that you would like to explore, yet to explore?
There is no surprise, but yes, like you mentioned, I want a web series or a movie to be made out of my life, my own story, because it's like a roller coaster. It's got so many ups and downs, situations of where I have practically given up. I've attempted suicide, a broken home I've come from, then created my own idyllic home. I was neglected by my mother, and but I gave everything I could to my kids. And today my kids are really shining in their respective fields. I came from a broken home, but created such a strong bond with my beautiful, gorgeous wife. I suffered from so many ailments, and finally I conquered cancer. And so there are so many strands to my life. So even if you agree, accuse me of immodesty, I think it'll make a great movie or a web series. So I would love a movie or a web series to be made. I've already written my memoir. It's with the agent. It's in two parts. The first part is with the agent. So it is ready for a film or a web
Oh,
series.
so it's a shout out to movie makers or filmmakers or OTT platforms. Yes. But the best part out of all this conversation or the conversation that I had in the car when we were returning from Kokluku, there's so much to learn.
Thank
So
you.
much to learn for all age groups, even in this conversation. For a child, a teenager, to adults, to senior citizens, for everyone. And the best part is, I love your spirit of keeping that smile and
Hmm.
choosing to be positive. Thank you, sir. So,
Thank you.
before we end this conversation, there's this new book that I'm not getting a hold of, The Gift, right? Any other upcoming books? Yes, yes. And any other
Uh,
upcoming books or
Yeah, there are a couple of books. There is one book which has gone to the press. It is published by NBT India.
okay.
It's a story. It's a funny kind of story set in the present times where Ghatotkacha, as a boy, as an 11-year-old boy, is banished from heaven because he was caught sleeping in a function to honor Lord Brahma. So he comes to India and, like a normal, ordinary youngster studying in school. So there, how he, fights bullies, learns to play cricket, even falls in love. All that is, written. It's called Dev. It should be out next month.
Wow. So sorry.
Then this memoir of mine is there, which is with the publisher, with the this thing agent, and I've also written a book on poaching of tigers. It's
Okay.
called Mission Tiger. It's an adventure story where some group of youngsters, they stumble upon poachers and bring them to justice.
Okay, cool. Like too many things coming up. That's good. That's good.
Mhm.
And so many different varieties. Nah? Again, nothing is like repetitive, the same genre. Wow. So, last question. Is there a list or a website where we can find all your books?
So my website is just expired. It's coming up. I think it'll be up in another week. It's www.ramendra.in.
Okay.
It's got all the information. Then quite a few of my books are on Amazon
Yes. Okay. So, like most of them are on Amazon, and the rest we can find information from your website as well.
website. Yeah.
Cool. Great. So, like it's a dream come true, sir. मुझे तो अब आपने बहुत कुछ बहुत दिनों तक के लिए ना मुझे बहुत सारी चीजें सोचने के लिए मजबूर है, and
And
I'm
I
sure.
also enjoyed the conversation because the questions were very insightful and very different from what normally I'm asked in conversations. So I had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So this 200th episode becomes equally more special for me because you are my special guest. And I feel, honestly, I feel blessed to know you, to directly contact you, communicate with you, and to have met you.
Thank
So
you so
thank
much.
you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
Hamad.
much. Thank you.